Boss fights. What can I say about boss fights that hasn't been said before by, well, just about every gamer on YouTube? Acting as tests of the player's skill, these battles signify some of the greatest fights in gaming history. But do you know what's even better than boss fights? A video game that is nothing but boss fights. Even though I wasn't able to get into the series until the third installment, Monster Hunter has quickly become one of my favorite video game series, and quite frankly, one of the best games I've ever played. A criminally underrated series, you go around hunting monsters, using the parts of those monsters to create better weapons and armor, which allows you to hunt even stronger monsters, which allows for even more weapons and armor, and the cycle repeats. It really gives you a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment that provides hundreds of hours of entertainment. Between Tri, 3 Ultimate, and my brief stint with Freedom Unite on the PSP, I've poured at least a month's worth of playtime into this series. And with the 4th one having recently come out, I thought I'd make a top 10 to celebrate. In this list I'm going to be ranking my top 10 Monster Hunter monsters. As always, a few things to note before I begin. I'll be taking into account their design, the battles themselves, how difficult they are to fight, subspecies, and the theme that plays while fighting them. Although, ultimately, it comes down to my personal choice. In addition to that, this is a topic that really isn't set in stone. I'm constantly changing my views on these monsters. I've only played Tri and Ultimate extensively, and this list will reflect that. And finally, there will be several endgame bosses on this list, so, spoiler alert. But before I start the list, there are so many monsters in this series that I had to exclude several monsters that I really like fighting. So here are some honorable mentions. The Agnaknir, the Rathian and Rathalos, the Nibblesnarf, the Lagiacrus, the Barioth, the Tigrix, and the Gobble. So with those out of the way, let's begin the hunt. It's Monster Hunter Tri. I've just beaten the Gobble and unlocked a new area, the Tundra. An ice level in a video game that doesn't suck? With new monsters and materials? Well, sign me up, it sounds like fun. So I start one with the quest, just mining and gathering some bloodstones. I'm not going to hunt anything just yet, I just want to explore this beautiful area. And wow, this place is awesome. I'm seeing and getting tons of new stuff, just having a fantastic time. And now what is this? Are Diggy coming out of it? Is that an egg? Gross! Kill it with fire! Okay, that was disgusting, but I've got one of the stones now. Time to turn them in. And what is that? Some sort of dragon gecko thing? That's a cool design, but I probably can't beat it right now. I should run. But, you know, what harm could come from just fighting it a little bit? Yeah, I think I'll see what this monster is made of.
Oh my god!
No. I am not going back there. You can't make me. Out of all the monsters in Monster Hunter, the Gigginox is the only one that I find truly creepy. The Khezu comes close, but it looks so stupid that I can't take it seriously. But the first time I saw the Gigginox, I panicked and ran, and can you blame me? Look at this thing, its mouth got 20 times bigger when it roared. That's just... ew. But I had to fight it eventually, and after driving off the Lagiacrus, I was feeling pretty confident in myself. So let's go kill this thing. Right off the bat, you'll notice that you have to fight this thing in the dark, constantly lighting torches just so you can see the Gigginox properly. And during the fight, you have to deal with the baby Giggies that are trying to latch onto your face. Remember these things? They actually are eggs. The Gigginox lays them constantly through the bite, meaning that its tail is actually an... never mind. Let's talk about the fight itself. The Gigginox is a very different fight from the monsters you see previously to it. With most of the other monsters, you just run in, being up close and personal, carefully slashing and dodging until they die. You can't really do that with the Gigginox. This monster is constantly jumping around, climbing on the walls and ceilings, and spewing poisonous gas. Did I mention the poison? Oh god, the poison. This is the first time in the game you have to deal with poison, and I had no idea what to do when it hit me. I quickly died 3 times, failed the quest, and had to rethink my life choices a bit. Yet despite how much trouble the Gigginox caused me, and how much it just absolutely disgusts me, once I learned the fight, I really enjoyed it. I was able to kill it several times and get some really sweet weapons because of that. And finding its subspecies, the Baleful Gigginox, is even more fun. No stupid poison and no goddamn eggs. But what set the Gigginox apart from the other honorable mentions was that battling it was the first time I got to hear the Tundra battle theme, which, just listen to it. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the Gigginox, so I'll just kill this one and move on to the next monster. If I could just get it to come down. Any day now. Any day now. Whoa! Ow! That was rude. Ugh! Ew! 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 Get it off! Get it off! Get it off me! Ugh! Going into Monster Hunter, I expected the monsters to be variations of dinosaurs, sea monsters, and dragons, stuff you'd expect from giant monsters. I was not expecting the Qurupeco. Qurupeco? I don't know what the official pronunciations are. A giant, multicolored, bizarre-looking bird. The Qurupeco is a wonderful example of just how weird-looking the monsters in this game can be. Because of that, I didn't take this monster very seriously. And because of that, I died almost instantly. You see, the Qurupeco is the first introduction the player will have to elements in Monster Hunter. There are 5 major kinds of elements in this game: fire, water, electric, ice, and dragon? And each monster has specific resistances and weaknesses to each kind, and by extension, the armor you receive from them has the same strengths and weaknesses. Now, like most players at this point, I had hunted and built an armor set out of Great Jockey. Jockey armor is very resistant to dragon for some weird reason, a bit weak to the other elements, and very weak to fire. And guess what element the Qurupeco uses? You wouldn't expect this thing to use fire. It spends most of the time trying to peck you or hit you with its tail, but every once in a while it will spit at you. Yes, spit, which gives you a debuff that makes you even weaker to fire. And then it does this. How does this even work? It hits those 2 rock-like projections at the end of its wings together, and it somehow creates an explosion. Or in the subspecies case, electricity, which makes even less sense. But despite this, it's a very easy monster to defeat. Should be expected after all, it's the second big monster you fight. So once you learn how to dodge the fire, it's all good. At least, that's what you'd expect. But the Qurupeco has the ability to throw off the entire hunt. See its beak? Notice how it's shaped kind of like a trumpet? That's because it works exactly like a trumpet. The Qurupeco can use it in 2 ways, the first of which is to buff itself. To buff itself, it sings a song that will either boost its defense, attack, or heal. I particularly enjoy these songs because if you hit the Qurupeco hard enough, the buff or heal goes to you for reasons, and it panics and runs away. But if you don't hurt it, the Qurupeco gets buffed, as well as any of the other monsters it has summoned. Which brings me to the beak's second use. The Qurupeco can mimic the cries of other monsters, calling for their help, then taunting you as you get torn apart by its newfound allies. This can make the fight 10 times harder, especially for fighting electric subspecies, because this godforsaken douche will sing a song that sends a monster straight into rage mode, which makes the monster at least twice as strong, fast, and harder to kill, and all the while you're dizzy because the stupid bird keeps flashing you! But, annoying as it is, it makes the fight so much more interesting depending on what it calls. For example, that one is called the Great Jockey. Not too bad, very easy to kill, and it attacks the Qurupeco as much as you. That one's called Alatreon, which complicates things greatly. That one is called... Ugh. And that was... Oh no. When you get into the higher ranked quest, you receive a warning that you might spot a very powerful and terrifying monster whenever you go out hunting. But who cares about that? I'm a high rank hunter now. I'm practically invincible. What's this? Another Qurupeco hunt? I don't care if your stats are boosted, I know this fight front to back. There is nothing you can do that can surprise me. Wait, what was that roar? Was that a Rathian? It didn't really sound like one, but I think that's all it could be. That'll make this a little harder, but I can live with it. I'm a high rank hunter after all. Wait, what? I was wrong, I was not prepared for this. The Deviljho is power incarnate. This brute wyvern always pops up at the worst possible time to ruin whatever hunt you are currently on. If this monster shows up, you have to drop everything and run. Doesn't matter what you are doing, you don't stand a chance against this hungry behemoth. And the music lets you know that. unlike most other battle themes in this game, which reminded me of an intense battle, invigorating you to succeed. The Deviljho's theme is different. This music is telling you to run. Run as far and fast as you can. Don't look back, because if you do, this monster will devour you. And everything else. The Deviljho is known as the Great Devourer, because it will eat anything. Herbivores, carnivores, boss monsters, other Deviljho, you, even its own tail. This monster has to constantly move between environments, because it can hunt a species to extinction if it stays in one place for too long. And that's just the regular Deviljho. There's an event quest that forces you to fight a World Eater Deviljho, which is near twice the normal size, and a variant called a Savage Deviljho that is in a state of permanent hunger, rage, and agony, starting and crackling dragon energy if you make it mad enough. And these aren't special subspecies. All Deviljho can grow through this size and get this angry. There's nothing you can do to fight it! And this is the reason I love this monster. The build-up to battling it is perfect. You start out far too weak to even do damage to it, but as you grow stronger, skirting around the monster whenever it shows up, you eventually build yourself up to the point where you can consider taking it on. And when you finally go out on a hunt, committed to destroying it, the music starts playing, yelling you for to run, but you stand your ground like the badass hunter you've become. Until it enters rage mode, and you realize what a horrible mistake you've made. But if you actually manage to fight through all the rocks, stomps, and dragon breath, there is nothing more satisfying than killing this mighty titan. In the opening cinematic of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, you get a brief glimpse of what the final unique monster you have to fight is. This glimpse really doesn't do justice to what is in store for you against this Elder Dragon. The first time I fought the Dire Miralis, the fight started, me and the rest of my group ran forward and were instantly killed. This fight is designed to be like this. You will always get hit by this attack if you run straight forward. The fight itself is telling you that you don't have the strength to fight this monster head on. Charge him blindly, instant death. This pretty much requires you to have a full team of 4 very experienced hunters to even have a shot at taking this monster down. So when you actually get into the fight, avoiding the fiery meteors, you immediately notice some things. First off, the music. It gives off a feeling of an ultimate power. Not like the Deviljho's brute strength, more of a demonic prime evil. Which is very deserved, because this thing is enormous. Look at this thing. You know those meters I got killed with earlier? It's shooting those out of its back. It's quite literally a walking volcano. But, okay, once the shock is worn off, we need to kill this thing. The Dire Miralis fight is very different from the rest, as it's the only Elder Dragon fight that's constantly forcing you to switch between land and water. In the water, it's easier to reach its weak points, which, by the way, are just about the only places on its body you can actually damage, but in the water you can't maneuver as well. And like any other Elder Dragon fight, there are ballista and dragon eaters spread across the battlefield. Yeah, this monster is so strong that you need siege weapons to battle it. For those of you that haven't played Monster Hunter, a dragon eater is basically a giant trap designed to wound giant monsters. In this particular case, the dragon eaters are gigantic drills that are oh so satisfying to land hits with. This is one of the most intense fights in the game. The combination of the fiery barrage, the monster itself, the epic music, and the fantastic setting makes this a fight you will always remember. Plus you get some ridiculously cool weapons and armor for beating it. Previously on the life of Kalimdori. Oh boy, the Brachydios announced a brand new Monster Hunter game. It's expanding the Monster Hunter tribe, there's gonna be new monsters, new areas, all the weapons are returning, it's gonna be sick! Wait. It's Japan only? But why? It's such a sad thing about the Monster Hunter games. While they are epic masterpieces that allow for hundreds of hours of entertainment, they aren't very popular outside of Japan. As such, I had to wait a few years before I got to fight the Zinogre, or as it's called in America, the Zinogre. Yet somehow, I was able to avoid any and all spoilers when it actually came to fighting the monster. I knew that this is what it looked like, that it looks awesome, and that it was electric. That was it. So I had no idea what to expect when I started fighting this monster. I wasn't expecting anything special for sure, and those expectations got blown away because this monster is epic. This is an electric battle in every sense of the word, from the monster's design, to its quick and powerful attacks, to the intense tempo of the music. At first, the Zinogre isn't particularly hard. It casually saunters around in a pompous manner, taking swipes at you, occasionally howling, and absorbing some sort of electrical energy. It doesn't perceive you as a threat. Why should it tire itself? But once it absorbs enough power... This monster instantly goes from a slow-paced fight to an all-out brawl. Zinogre gets twice as fast, twice as strong, and twice as electric. It's no longer sauntering around. It seems that you are a worthy opponent and will try to kill you in any way it can. Shooting electricity, clawing, swiping, body slamming, all the while doing some insane acrobatics just to show off. And if you are misfortunate enough to get in a rage while it's charged up, at this point you can barely get a hit in without being mercilessly punished. You pretty much have to wait for the rage or the electrical charge to end. The monster is that dangerous, and it is such a thrill to fight. Also, its electricity is powered by bugs, which you can catch off his back. Unless it's the subspecies, in which case they are dragon bugs. Because why not? Let me break the setting of this fight down for you. You are on an ocean of sand. The winds and design of the boat allow you to easily glide across the desert. The boat is filled to the brim with awesome weapons. You are standing at the prow of the ship, taking in the majesty of the environment, when you hear a giant groan, as if the earth itself is moving. And then you see it. As you thought the Dire Miralis was big, seeing this monster in trailers was what convinced me to try out this series, and I can't thank it enough for that. This giant sand whale is the biggest monster in the game. You need every bit of heavy artillery on this ship to take the Elder Dragon down. If the boat you're on breaks, which it can, you're dead. The entire battle, you're frantically scrambling around the ship, grabbing bolts and cannonballs to fire at the giant monster, and it all feels so useless. This thing is so massive that it doesn't matter what you hit it with, nothing seems to even phase it. It'll whine a bit if you do enough damage, but it doesn't seem to do anything more than annoy the monster. Which is why this battle supplies the hunters with a bit more firepower than usual. You go into this fight armed to the teeth. In addition to your personal weapons and items, you have 2 ballistas, 2 cannons, 4 gigantic bombs, a set of harpoons called the Ballista Binder, an enormous hunting gong, and best of all, a dragon hunter fixed to the front of the ship that you can use to impale the beast by ramming it head on. The combination of all these new weapons make this an extremely fun fight, and I haven't even mentioned the best part. When the Jhen Mohran comes alongside the ship, you can actually jump onto it. It's such an epic feeling to run across the gigantic monster, mining ores and attacking weak spots on its back, all the while enjoying the awesomeness of riding a living island. I'm the king of the world! Ow. You'd think this would be more than enough to fulfill the quota for an epic boss fight, but the developers of this game just weren't satisfied, because this is only half the battle. Once the timer hits the halfway point, the Jhen Mohran will dive underground and you get this message. After which a loading screen appears, and you're greeted with this setting. Suddenly the tides have turned. You've done enough damage to the Jhen Mohran to get its attention, your ship is stopped, the monster is coming for you, and it is pissed. It will slowly crawl its way towards your ship, throwing rocks, swinging its tusks, and hitting the ground so hard that it causes earthquakes. At this point in time, you have 2 options. Stay on the ship and keep firing the cannons or ballistas, or run alongside the Jhen Mohran attacking its arms. This battle quickly becomes a war of attrition, trying to keep the Jhen Mohran far enough from the ship so its moves don't make contact with the ship, but close enough that you can still hit it. Because if it's too far, the cannonballs will fall short, and if it's too close, it will very quickly destroy your ship with this move, which is both the absolute worst and best move in the game. Because on one hand, it destroys your ship very quickly, but if you hit the hunting gong while it's using the move, It will fall on its back and allow you to enter its mouth, either carve, attack, or bomb it. Just don't get swallowed. But even after shoving a couple of bombs down its throat, it just won't die. What am I supposed to do to defeat this thing? Oh, Dragonitor's back online. That'll do it. Just gotta wait for it to do that one move. There! The music suddenly changes from ominous to heroic. You've got the Jhen Mohran on the ropes, beating it with everything you've got. You know you can win this. You may run out of time, and that's fine. It will flee, you'll still get a loot drop, which you can make some awesome armor and weapons from. But if you manage to kill it, dear god is it satisfying to watch this monster finally fall. And subspecies is pretty cool too. Throughout the single-player campaign, the village you are trying to protect is being ravaged by earthquakes. The village chief is blaming them on Alatreon, an electric sea monster, which you eventually kill. But the quakes continue, and my buddy Cha-Cha went missing as well. Feeling lost as what to do, I went on a few new quests, explored the new volcano region, when suddenly Cha-Cha returns. He disappeared because he fell off the village pier and couldn't climb back up. Wait, no, that's not true. That anti-Cha-Cha smear campaign. He went scouting for the source of the earthquakes, which he found. He brings tales of an enormous deep-sea monster that's causing the earthquakes. He describes it as 3 times taller than he is, and 100 times bigger than the Lagiacrus. Sounds like an enormous sea serpent. So working together with the villagers, we gathered the means to go on an expedition to drive off the monster and save the village. And arriving at the base camp, you finally see the underwater elder dragon, the Ceadeus. Holy crap! Cha-Cha may have been exaggerating a bit, but this monster is still gigantic. This fight is the only one in the game that is entirely underwater, and it mainly consists of you trying to do damage to the Ceadeus as it's swimming along. It barely pays any attention to you. Most of the damage you take is from its basic swimming movements. Almost makes me feel bad for attacking it. It's not purposefully doing any harm to anybody, it's just so big that it's causing earthquakes for the people above ground. But it must be done. So after swimming along through several areas, you give its beard a shave and it gets angry, retreating to its lair. And when you follow it... Oh my god, the chanting. Surrounded by an ancient sunken city, this is the perfect setting to go 1-on-1 versus... Sorry, Cha-Cha. 2-on-1 versus... Oh fine, Kayamba. 3-on-1 versus the monster that's been causing your village so many problems. This fight becomes very intense very quickly. The Ceadeus will constantly pursue you around the arena, shooting giant beams of pressurized water while you try to break its hood, tail, and horn. Like any Elder Dragon fight, you get some extra firepower in this battle. Although this one only has 2 underwater ballista and a Dragonator. But unlike the Dragonators you've seen so far, this one works a little differently. Whereas the previous ones were just giant drills that you'd hit the dragon with, this Dragonator is much more simple. It's a set of giant nails that you impale the Ceadeus with when it gets too close. How this doesn't kill it in one shot, I have no idea. Hit the Ceadeus with the Dragonator a few times, and break its horn, and the monster will turn tail and run. End credits play, and you get the chance to go back and try to kill the monster. Unlike other Elder Dragons, the Ceadeus doesn't heal between fights, meaning that as long as you keep damaging it, you will eventually kill it. Why it doesn't heal? I don't know. Probably because it isn't fully grown yet. Yeah, this giant Leviathan, it isn't fully grown. The fully grown Ceadeus is known as the Goldbeard Ceadeus, which is larger, has new attacks, can inflict Dragon Blight, and has horns that have grown so big they completely cover its eyes. It's the ultimate underwater battle, one that I look forward to fighting every time I play through the game. I stayed away from the trailers for Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate until it was released. I knew I was going to enjoy the game, so why spoil myself on all the fun? I did hear that it had a new flagship monster, which I was excited to see. And when I finally saw the Brachydios in the opening cinematic, I knew that this monster would be stupidly fun to fight. In a nutshell, this is a monster that creates explosions everywhere it punches. See how its arms and head are covered in green slime? That's its spit. If it gets in something other than the Brachydios, it will slowly change color from green to yellow to red, and then violently explode. It's a pretty awesome battle mechanic, but it's really easy to deal with. Just avoid the puddles and roll if the slime gets on you, no problem. It's a bit sad. This monster is kind of easy. Pretty slow, pretty easy to dodge. It has such a cool design, but once you get past the new slime mechanic, it's really easy to deal with. Alright, it's enraged now. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. It's only faster in a slightly different color now, right? Wrong. Every single damn hit explodes instantly now. The fight goes from rather easy to very challenging in 3 seconds flat. The combination of the immediate explosions and the increased speed allows the Brachydios to deal heavy damage to you very, very quickly. I was one-shotted many times by this monster before I learned to dodge its attacks correctly. This fight keeps your adrenaline up through the whole battle. The constant explosions, fast-paced music, and badass design of the monster made this a fight I willingly replayed over and over again, in order to get a full set of armor and several weapons from this creature. The slime buff that this monster uses, creatively named Slime Blight, is carried over into the weapons, making your hits occasionally explode. The Brachydios armor makes the debuff slightly stronger. Add on the feline pyro and bombardier skills, and it gets very near game-breaking just how good this equipment can be if used correctly. Once I finished my Brachydios set, I didn't have to upgrade to anything new until I was halfway through the G-rank quests, at which point I could have easily just upgraded to the G-rank Brachydios equipment. But I didn't. I'd gotten bored of the equipment, which is my only real problem with the monster. Due to the fact that it was a brand new monster and its equipment was extremely good to get, a good half of the people online were using some sort of Brachydios equipment. It got rather repetitive, and made the game a bit too easy for my tastes. But even though I got bored of the equipment, it's still very useful and the monster is a blast to fight. Get it? Blast? Get it? While the Dire Miralis is the final unique boss of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, it didn't appear until Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. In Monster Hunter Tri, a different monster took up the mantle as the ultimate final boss. After seeing a ton of other people online with this awesome glowing purple gear, I was pretty excited to see what this final monster could be. After the Jhen Mohran and the Ceadeus, this monster must be enormous. What could possibly top those two? Is this monster the size of an island? Is this monster an island? That'd be awesome. Alright, finally hit Hunter rank 50, and it's time to face the Alatreon. It's so mysterious and powerful that even the game doesn't know what it looks like. Ah, finally here. Let's do this, and... wait, what? That's it? After the Ceadeus and the Jhen Mohran, that's what they chose for the final boss? Oh, got my hopes up for nothing. Oh well, let's just kill this thing and get some materials. Wait, whoa, 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 what? 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 What just happened? Oh my god, this monster. This monster. Have you ever wondered what the apocalypse would look like if it took physical form? Well, you can stop wondering, because that's this monster. The Alatreon is described in-game as a monster so elementally unstable that it can actually affect the weather around it. It has control over every main Monster Hunter element. It switches between two basic forms: its ground form, which relies heavily on fire and dragon elements, and its air form, which relies on lightning and ice elements. Both of these forms are extremely fast, tough, and hard to hit. If you don't go into this battle fully prepared with a team that knows exactly what they are doing, you will fail, and you will fail miserably. Unless you're stupid enough to fight this thing as single player, because fighting this thing alone... Sorry! Fighting this thing without either human hunters is near suicide. So you have to go in with a game plan, and probably the most popular strategy was to sleep bomb the monster. Since the Alatreon is so unstable, it's very susceptible to status conditions like poison, paralysis, and sleep. One person will play as a gunner, and that person was usually me, who would load up on sleep bullets, bombs, and materials to make more, and the rest of the group would do the same. I'd keep hitting the monster until it fell asleep, at which point we'd lay down a bunch of bombs by it and I'd blow them up. And we'd repeat the process until we ran out of bombs. It was very fun to do, but even with that strategy it was still a really challenging fight. Alatreon moves so radically that it's very hard to hit with bullets. I would get enraged the second after it woke up, which meant that it hurt more and was even faster, practically nullifying any chance you have of even hitting the monster while it's enraged. It's also possible to get its horn stuck in the walls, which I find hilarious. I consider this monster to be the hardest monster in any Monster Hunter game I've played. Even the post-Dire Miralis bosses are easier to learn and beat than this thing. It's an epic fight that puts everything you know about Monster Hunter to the test, an epic final boss to an epic game, with badass music to boot. So, the only question is, why is it only number 2? What could possibly beat the apocalypse itself? Like I said at the beginning of this video, I've only majorly played the third installments in the Monster Hunter series. It wasn't until after I put a few hundred hours into Ultimate that I got the chance to borrow Freedom Unite, and even then I was only able to get up to the Tigrex where I had to return it, meaning that I had no idea what my number 1 monster even looked like when I got the chance to fight it in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I didn't even hear a mention of it until I saw the quest to fight it in single player. Right after fighting the Zinogre, I see a new quest for a brand new monster, so I went to go hunt this mysterious Nargacuga. The second I heard that screeching roar, I knew this was going to be one of my favorite monsters ever. It's a Panther Dragon. Panther Dragon! And not just any Panther Dragon, a Panther Dragon that has bladed wings, can shoot spikes out of its tail, and its eyes glow red when it's enraged. Brilliant, all of my yes, 7.8 out of 10, too much badass. The fight against this thing is badass too. This creature is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, monster in the entire game, constantly leaping around, attacking very quickly, rarely giving an opening to attack. All of its attacks are quick and precise, except for this one, which sacrifices speed for the power to instantly kill you on higher ranked quests. This monster is so quick that you can't even use pitfall traps on it unless it's enraged, and if you're able to set up a trap while it's enraged, props to you, I'm impressed. Yet despite its quick speed, it's not a terribly hard monster. It's still a very good challenge, but not so hard as to be frustrating, and I love it. Once you master fighting this monster, you gain access to some of the coolest equipment in the game. I love the armor the Nargacuga gives you. In a game where the armor is so excessively spiky and ridiculous, it's nice to see something more believable. And that helmet is quite possibly the coolest helmet I've seen in a video game. Unless you're a female, in which case, sucks to be you. You don't get a helmet, and you forgot your pants. So far, I've only talked about the regular Nargacuga, but its subspecies is what I really love. This is one of the very few monsters that has gotten multiple subspecies. The green Nargacuga is very similar to the regular, with one major difference. Its spikes now poison the hunters. As you can probably imagine, that makes the hunt much harder. But it's the second subspecies, the lucent Nargacuga, that pushed the Nargacuga to the top of this list. I mean, look at it, can you blame me? What's that? You can't see it? Well, why not? It's right here. Oh, come on, here, let me show you. Yep, it can straight up turn invisible. Its spikes also poison, and every time it attacks with its tail, it sends out spikes in every single direction. The Nargacuga represents everything I love about the Monster Hunter series. Its badass design, varied subspecies, kick-ass theme, challenging battle, and awesome equipment make this monster perfectly deserving to be my number 1 pick for the best monster of this series. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, favorite, share, and subscribe. If you don't, the Nargacuga will eat you. If you didn't like it and want to risk the Nargacuga, please dislike, leave a hateful remark, and subscribe to hate my future videos as well. Monster Hunter is a fantastic series. It's not very noob-friendly, but once you learn how to play it, it will entertain you for hours upon hours. If you haven't tried the series out, I would highly recommend for you to give it a shot. You won't regret it. Probably. There's more stuff coming in the future. I'm going to start working on another top 10 immediately after uploading this one, so look forward to that. I hope you're all enjoying life, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
So tasty!